Hi, welcome to The Know. I'm Eric.
I'm Jeremy.
I'm Gus.
I looked at the wrong persons for the intros, but that's fine. I just played a whole bunch of Fallout 76, and these guys are here to talk to me about it.
How much is a whole bunch of Fallout 76?
3 hours.
You played 3 hours. Okay.
Yeah, they sat us down in a room, and we played like 3 straight hours.
Did you start from the beginning, or did you get put in with a pre-made character who'd already been doing stuff?
That's what I was expecting. That because oh well, then you can experience more of the world. Nope. Started in the vault. Woke up in the vault. You
Design a character.
It essentially started exactly how you're going to start it at home. Opened up the thing, main menu, start game, blam, I'm in a vault. Of course, they changed a few things. So the way it was set up is there was squares. There's a big room. There's 70-something Xboxes set up with this thing, and it was all in squares. So you had, they were facing that way. So, and there were 3 gaming journalist visiting people, and then there was 1 Bethesda employee that was kind of our Sherpa. So we were all in groups, and so they, of course, had everybody set up. And what was also cool is that once we got out in the world, they had a whole bunch of people back in Maryland, on populating our servers.
Gotcha.
So there's
Griefing
level
you.
60s and stuff that were showing up. So it'd be you'd be getting overrun with ghouls or something, and then it was like a superhero movie where a guy in power armor would swoop in and start shooting and save your ass. You're like, yes, thank you so much, I love you.
So I feel like we do have to say this was a Bethesda-sponsored event.
It was.
Yeah,
it was
okay.
Bethesda-sponsored. They flew me out to West Virginia. It was this crazy event. I mean, they didn't. It was there's a location in the game called the White Sulphur Springs Hotel. It's based on the Greenbrier Hotel, and there's a reason for that because the Greenbrier famously has an actual real-life Fallout shelter built underneath it. It was done in the late 50s, early 60s, and to house the Congress in case the bombs fell, because this is right after Russia got the nukes and all this stuff. So it was the contiguity of government.
Okay.
So this was all for the Congress. So there's it's a huge thing. So we did a tour of the actual bunker. They threw a party in the bunker, which is crazy, and it was this crazy, mind-blowing, bizarre experience. So of course everybody wanted to beeline right to the Greenbrier when we started playing. So.
But you said that you had the moments where people swooped in and saved your ass and things like
Yeah.
that. But because you got in the multiplayer of it, were there times that people came in and didn't save you and wanted to fight? Because that's what people are wondering about is the PvP aspect.
Right,
of it.
a high-level person coming in and just kicking
And
your ass.
annihilating you.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean that was my worry. I'm a big Fallout fan, but I and so I had the same reservations most people did. It's I like Fallout for the exploring. I like it for the world immersion. Right. It's I don't want it to be kind of the little bit of Elder Scrolls Online I played. If you go out into the the PvP server area, you'll just get these roving bands of crazy high-powered people that'll just wipe you out. My experience wasn't that, but admittedly, I only played 3 hours, and they don't even allow PvP until level 5, until you're level 5. So nobody can screw with you until you're level 5. You can't attack anybody. So I only had 1 PvP experience, and I think it was an accident.
Gotcha.
What they told me going in is that it's not impossible for a lower level person to take down a higher level guy, that they do kind of an auto leveling thing. So if it's not going to be easy. They're going to have better perks. They're going to have, crazy, armor. They're going to have that stuff, but they do an auto level. So it's not, just impossible. So people can't just, start bullying people.
Okay. I want to rewind a little bit.
Yeah, do it, please. We jumped right into it.
So I'm very curious about this starting situation. When you said you started, you were in this big room. How does that work? Is there still special? Do you still assign points to that?
You assign points to special as you level up. You start with 1 point in each.
Okay.
And so the way and this is the most confusing part. This is I'm not so sure how much I like the new card system.
The cards, yeah.
I like it. I mean, I like the idea of it, but it's a little confusing as somebody who's used to the regular perk tree. So you start off with 1 point in each, and the more points you put in each special, the higher level and better cards you can put underneath. So the cards have a value from 1 to 3 is what I saw. Maybe they go higher. I don't know. So if you had a 3-star card, that's going to give you a crazy 60% bonus to food or finding more ammo or whatever. but you need to put 3 points in that slot in order to equip it.
Okay.
So, like for instance, lockpick. You know, when I play these games, I like to max out lockpick as quick as possible because I hate going and finding a container I can't open. So I got a lockpick card, and I think that was in perception. And so I made sure to put enough points into perception so I could put the lockpick card in there, which came in handy because as you're out in the world with your group, you only need one person that can open a lock, because if you have one person that's good at lockpicking and can open a container, everybody can then access the container after it's unlocked.
So I then have to guess, and I don't know if you know the answer to this or not, but then your special doesn't max out at 10 anymore, because that used to be the max for special. Like
I think it does. Of course, I got up to level 7, you know, in my 3 hours. I saw some people make it to about level 10, and you get a perk point, I think, either every level at the beginning or every 2 levels at some point. That's unclear for me. Like, again, I only played the beginning. I think that they max out at 10 because I think at some point you stop getting.
That's a lot of levels then.
Yeah, I mean,
7, and then if you can go up to 10 each.
But I think you stop getting perk points, or not perk points, special points at a certain point. So you can't just God mode your character.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think that was the same way with at least 3, right? You couldn't ever get a full 10 unless you got
no. You had like a pool to choose from, and then you allocated.
Yeah, they want you to do that. But what's interesting about the perk cards is that you can swap out your loadout at any time. So it's, you know, if you are like a heavy melee character, then you get into a long distance, you know, map or something. Not map, but like an area where there's people sniping you, and you go, well, I'm going to use my rifle now, you know, and you can go, well, I have all these rifle card perks, and you can just swap out cards.
How quick is that? Is there like quick loads? Like, can you save a loadout or like save a configuration?
Okay, so you have to. Not that I saw, but so you have to find a safe spot for it because time does not slow down. VATS doesn't slow anything down. I mean, if you're in your Pip-Boy, you can get attacked.
So how did VATS work?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good question. VATS is kind of useless now, at least in what I saw. The way you start off is VATS highlights the entire person. You can get cards that'll do like specific area damage like you're used to. But honestly, I found it was so much better. I was having more hit success rate just playing it like a first-person shooter. So in what I played, VATS didn't seem to do much except help me find enemies sometimes, because sometimes they'll be hiding, or they'll be in the bushes or whatever. And you know, that's when I was playing Fallout 3 and 4, like I would just walk around the stuff like wailing on the VATS button, right? And so I can click, 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 and then it go zoom in, like, oh, there's something far down there.
So if you're going to PvP, then there's really not an easy way to hide if other people can just be clicking VATS all the time and find you in your hiding spot.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that the VATS works on kind of a line of sight thing. Like, I don't know if you could be hiding around a corner and still be seen. There might be perk cards for that. There's so many variations.
Probably depends on your perception as well, I would guess.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's like it's great for finding, like, you know, the guys in bushes, or if there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, especially if there's like an other group there that you're not wanting to shoot.
Yeah.
You know, then that's where I assume that'll come in handy. Where if you're trying to help a group that's being overrun by ghouls or something, and you want to help and not accidentally shoot somebody and start a PvP encounter, which is I think what happened with me. So
on the topic of the cards, so these the perk cards, I'm assuming you get when you level up. I saw like the packs that you can. It's
every 2 levels. Every 2 levels you get the pack up to a certain level. They didn't really say. I think I remember from like QuakeCon or something where they said it was up to a certain level. You get it every 2 levels, and then it's like every so often after that. But I mean, it's not like you get cards that are anything different than what you can get just by leveling up. Because every time you level up, you get to choose one point to put in the perk, right? And then you get to choose a perk card. It doesn't have to be in that category. If you want to put a point in strength so you can carry more shit, you don't have to pick a strength card. You can pick any other one, you know. But what's cool about the perk packs is that you can, or the card packs, is that you open it up and you get 3 like regular, and then you get one that's like higher level. It's like a 2 or 3 star thing. So that it kind of just pushes you into trying something you might not. You know, usually pick, because you're like, wait a minute, this seems pretty cool. Maybe I'll throw this higher level card and, you know, into this, you know, this category.
Did it look like there were any microtransactions to purchase card packs?
Not card packs, no.
Okay.
They said that's going to be completely earned in game because that affects play. There are going to be microtransactions, but it's all going to be in this new thing called an Atom store.
Okay.
And it's kind of like Overwatch. It's all going to be cosmetic items. It's it's like skins for guns, outfits. Like I saw some crazy stuff. I don't know if you can. I think that they said you can earn everything that you could buy in game, kind of like Overwatch.
Okay.
You know, just by finding it, or you know, there's an RNG element. Like I was opening stuff and finding blueprints for certain things that my team wasn't finding. You know, so. But I like one of the higher level Bethesda people that was in our server like had this crazy like Neo from Matrix 2 like trench coat and like this like really bizarre creepy skull mask thing, and I'm like, yeah.
So you said you were finding blueprints that the rest of your group wasn't finding. Is loot instanced, or is it just available for everyone?
That was my first question, because I hate games where it's like the first person to the body gets the thing, right? And that would honestly have been a game killer for me for this, like because then it becomes stressful. Like I hate that stress. I love the looting. I love finding stuff.
That's the Borderlands mentality.
Yeah,
you get there first and get the best things.
Yeah, no, screw that. But this one, there's as long as you get a hit on the enemy or the big boss, or you know whatever, because they have the higher level creatures that roam the land, the mythical creatures or whatever. From West Virginia myth, like those are kind of like the what do they call them? The behemoths from the last one, where they'll drop like good high level weapons and armor and stuff. As long as you get a hit on them, you'll get to loot them. If you don't, and that became a little bit of a pain for me, because I'm the guy that loves. I hate moving on from someplace without it feeling like I've checked every corner and every box, so like my team was constantly a little bit ahead of me, so I'd be like following a trail of empty bodies, because I didn't get a hit on them. But the way that loot works in like containers is it's all unique to you. So somebody could check a container and clean it out, and then you go and there's new stuff in it for you. The only time that's not the case is if it's something on a table, or junk on for instance, there's always the tripwires, right? And you cut it, and then there's a gun that's attached, and you can take the gun. Like I got a laser pistol because I disarmed a tripwire, but that wouldn't have been there for somebody else if it's laid out,
Okay. So if it's in a container or on a body,
yes,
everyone gets it. But if it's out in the open, that's not the case.
That's the way it was explained to me. So that was
okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, that was the way it was explained to me. I'm making an assumption with the gun because that happened with me. I didn't ask my group hey, can you see this gun?
Right.
But they said if there's duct tape on top of a cabinet and somebody grabs it, that's theirs, and it's not going to auto-populate. Now, one thing I wish I had asked, and it didn't hit me until I was gone, was I'm assuming they're going to do, since they're wanting this to be a years-long game, I assume that the junk and caps and ammo will auto-repopulate like it does in Fallout 4. But I don't know that for a fact.
Now, with in terms of the stuff you can pick up, is there a trade system other than just kind of throwing it on the ground and having your friend pick it up?
Yeah, no, you go up one of the other benefits of having all the Bethesda employees, on our servers that where they were trying to show us different stuff. So you can go up to anybody in the game and instigate a trade. You can do it as long as it's a living person.
Right.
So they're anticipating people specializing in cooking or something and being able to make stuff and then selling that stuff. Or if you're with your group and you say, hey, oh shit, I'm so irradiated, I don't have any radaway, and somebody's like, oh, I got some. You can go up to them and instigate a trade, and you can do it for free. You can charge them. You can swap anything. Yeah.
And what about the cards? Can you trade the cards?
Yes, if your charisma is high enough.
Oh,
interesting.
It's trying to make you put some points into charisma, but that becomes a perk where you can then give any cards that you have to your teammates.
Okay. What about story? Was there a narrative, and were there quest lines to follow, or how did that work?
Yeah, no. The whole no NPCs that are not real humans thing was another big question mark for me going into this. It's the main story is the overseer of 76 has gone out well before you, and you're always following in her footsteps. So you like one of the first things you do when you leave is you're supposed to go find her camp, and you go to her camp and you get a bunch of cool shit every time you find one of her camps or whatever, and you find a log, and the log tells you where to go next. That this is the next place she was going. So you're essentially following all this, following her through the map.
So were there any NPCs at all, or is it all just player
robots?
controlled?
I mean, it was robots and terminals and logs were what I found. I don't know if I interacted with a robot.
So robot like Cogsworth, like the metal sphere with the fire and the arms.
Yeah, Cogsworth. You know, the Greenbrier was entirely staffed by.
It's Cogsworth. Cogsworth is the clock from
That's true.
Yeah. That's right, Cogsworth. And then the other, like the automatrons, like the clear head.
For sure. Yeah, like they're all there. The Assaultrons are there.
Okay.
The big sentry bots are there, and
you just blew my mind. I've been calling him Cogsworth for years. By the way.
Well, you learned something.
Yeah.
You learned a lot of somethings today.
So yeah, get the fuck out of my face.
But yeah, I mean, I only like if the main quest is this, I probably only played that. And there's tons of side quests. Like it's just like Fallout, where you, like, I got to an area and it says, "Hey, you're within a radio tower signal. Why don't you flip over to that and see what happens?" And that'll give you a new quest.
So this Vault 76, because I think the whole point of it is it's like the first vault to open, or one of the first vaults, right?
Yeah. They're supposed to be the first ones to go into the wilderness. That doesn't mean that other people hadn't been surviving. I mean, I ran, super mutants, of course, are out there.
Right.
And,
so
and they're
are there
talking,
any
but
settlements? Like, like Fallout 4 has Diamond City, and Fallout 3 had Rivet City, and all that. So are any of those existent? Because people haven't really been out there.
Not like that I saw.
I wouldn't think so, because it seems like there's no human NPCs, right?
Yeah, but you find human bodies. Like and there was a group,
a whole settlement of them.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing is like essentially you're finding a lot of people. You assume they were killed by super mutants, or you're gonna find out about how, like, where they were. But I forgot what they were called. I should have been taking notes, but I was just like super, super focused. It was giving me a little stress too, because I'm just like, I'm leaving the vault and I'm picking up everything that I need on my way, but like I want to look around. They always hide something in here that's going to be something useful. But yeah, no, it seems to be that there have been people. There's just not like settlement camps of raiders and stuff like that. And I don't know what the entire world is going to be like. But.
So, I mean, the big question, did it actually feel like a Fallout game? Because this is a huge departure from the formula we know for the past couple of games.
Yeah, it felt like Fallout with friends. Like honestly, the co-op part of it was my favorite thing, and that is so addicting. One of the first things my group and I did, so we went into a mine, and it's it wasn't like a huge map of discovery, but we got to this one point where I'm kind of searching around at an upper level, and I find a piece of paper that says security door code, and there's like a 6-digit number on it. And almost exactly at the same time, one of my teammates downstairs said, "Hey, I found a security door." It's like, there's a keypad down here. I'm like, "Oh, here's the number." And they typed it in, and before I got down there, they'd opened the door, and I don't know, it was, I love the solo experience, but one thing that Borderlands does do really well is I love playing with friends, and I love going out and, having these higher level challenges and, attacking it as a group. There is no friendly fire.
Okay, good.
So that was the first thing that Pete Hines said when he went up and did his his welcome to the event speech, and which is good, because if there was friendly fire, you would constantly be going, "No, I'm not trying to shoot you." There is an exception to that though. You heard about the murder system, right?
No.
Is when people get marked? Is that
this is an anti-griefing thing that they're doing. If you instigate a PvP action, you say, "Hey, I want to fight." If somebody is like no and doesn't reciprocate, the person who is being aggressive can still kill them, but I don't believe they get any of the junk that you drop, and you become wanted on the map, and you become a big red target for everybody else. And if and when they kill you, the price, the bounty that's put on your head comes out of your own caps, and caps are pretty rare. I wouldn't be surprised if I got any more than about 100 caps in
3 hours.
The 3 hours of play.
So when you die, okay, so you brought up an interesting question. When you die,
yes.
Do you have to go back and re-loot your body to get all your stuff?
You can.
So when you respawn, you have nothing?
Not exactly. Only junk. Only junk drops. Like you keep all your guns,
okay.
you keep all your armor. They wanted there to be a price for death. So I mean, so much
So
of
you
this
lose your
game.
junk?
So you lose the junk, but the junk is like kind of like a big deal here.
Okay.
Because your weapons degrade, you need it to upgrade your, to fix your weapons. Your armor degrades like Fallout 3. And so, the rarer the junk, the more pissed off you're gonna be if a, Deathclaw jumps out and rips your head off. My understanding is that unless somebody else comes by and picks it up, you can still go to your corpse and pick up the stuff you dropped.
Okay.
But going back to the griefing thing, if you're in a group, if you decide you're just wandering alone and you team up with these people and they seem cool and they're going to go do higher level things and you want to go get all the, chance at the bigger drops and the legendary equipment and all that stuff, you can team up with them. And if one of them turns out to be an asshole and like starts killing people, if they get a bounty on their head, you can turn around even though you're in a group and blow their head off and collect the bounty.
Okay.
So that is the one exception to the friendly fire
Makes
thing.
sense.
So.
And on the topic of the death thing, so you and a group of 3 friends are traveling through a cave.
Yes.
One of you dies.
Yeah.
What happens to that person? Where do they go? And
Oh, where do they respawn?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's it. I'm not exactly sure where they respawn. I didn't die. I'm not a dyer. But they definitely don't spawn there. There's a little bit of the Call of Duty style that you can stim pack somebody who's down, and you have like a window to stim pack them and bring them back up. But if they die, they drop their junk. You can fast travel to anybody in your party. So that's probably what they would do. Is my guess is they would spawn. And they charge you caps to fast travel to places you've been. The farther away, the more caps it costs to fast travel. It's always free to fast travel back to 76, Vault 76. It's always free to fast travel to your camp that you set up. And it's always free to fast travel to anybody in your party. So that like encourages you to maybe split off and explore. And if somebody goes, holy shit, I found something cool, and you can instantly fast travel at no cost.
Why would you ever fast travel back to 76? Is there a reason to go back?
I think they just wanted to always have an option to get the fuck out of someplace that didn't cost you anything. And if you hadn't set up your camp and you're not playing, if you're playing solo, then you're SOL. So I think they're trying to make it as easy as possible. Because there's a little bit of a survival aspect to it too. You have to eat and you have to drink, and there's little meters, at the bottom of your Pip-Boy, bottom right-hand side of your Pip-Boy screen, that shows you, how hungry or thirsty you are, and that affects your gameplay. But it's not brutal. Like I was nervous about that too, because I hate playing those games where it's like I just want to enjoy the story. I want to enjoy this. I don't want to have to worry about brushing my teeth or
Right.
You're like, oh, your pee bar's full. You got to go, take a piss somewhere. It's like. But it wasn't as much of a pain in the ass. I think they're doing it more as a way to like the more exertion that you put, you just have to plan, and they want you to feel a little bit immersed in this world of being like the first people out there. So
Interesting.
definitely seems like they're hitting the exploring route a lot. They want you to get out there and do
and the
things.
map is crazy huge. Like I'm not kidding when it's like when I'm saying that I maybe explored, not even explored, experienced like maybe 3% of the map, 3 or 4%, and I fully explored maybe 1% of it in my 3 hours.
Yeah.
They said it's 4 times as big as the Fallout 4's map, but I was kind of worried that they were just going to go lots of filler. It's like Skyrim, where it's like, oh, it's huge, but then there's this huge, you can climb a mountain and there's nothing for 5 minutes and stuff. It seemed like there was always something, whether it was something cool to look at, or a shack to loot, or an overturned car, or an instance of enemies.
Interesting.
Can you expand a little bit on the camp? Because the camp looks like a big part of it, and like kind of the mobile type camping that you can take with you, right?
Yeah. No, it's huge. I mean, it's a very central part to the thing, because like. One of the biggest tips that I was given, like up front, was that every time you get to a workbench, and there's a lot around, always deconstruct your junk, because your junk is heavy, and you can deconstruct it in about halves the weight, right? And so then you just get the base elements. And if there's these little like storage containers, which are always at the overseer's camps, they're sprinkled throughout, and they'll be at your camp that you set up. That's your safe zone where you can store anything and nobody can take it. You can't lose it. whatever, and they're sprinkled throughout. So it's a little bit like shit. What was the big Xbox game?
Halo.
State of Decay. Yeah, State of Decay 2, where you could unlock certain zones or whatever, and you can dump your stuff, and if you died, it would be safe. Yeah, not Halo.
Okay, that's interesting. And then you can build camps.
Yeah, and the camp is something you can make portable. You can set up wherever you want. You can essentially shut it down, and then set it exactly up. Whatever you would build at a certain point and set it up somewhere else.
So when you take down the camp, everything you built kind of goes.
That's a great question. I only built because so when you first open the camp, I did that towards in the last hour. I'm like, I want to actually see what this is like. So I set up a camp. I built my workstation. And like a storage thing, and everything else was like X'd out because I hadn't found the blueprints for it yet. I hadn't found the plans for it. One of the things that I did find, and funnily enough, one of the devs came by going, "Oh, it's like, wow, you found that?" It's like, that's super rare. Was a radiation shower. It's like that kind of like St. Louis arch that like sprays you and you gets rid of your rads.
Oh, that's really good.
And I'm like, oh man, and I was so irradiated. I'll tell you my oh shit moment about it. But needless to say, like my health was this. That was about my health. That was all rads. And I'm like, I'm in desperate need. I had no rad away. So I'm going to build this up, and it takes some rare mats to make. So even though I had the blueprint, I couldn't actually build it yet. But I found the plans like just searching stuff, and the dev was like no, we've actually found that was a balance issue. So now you can't get that until end game.
Gotcha.
Stuff. And when you do get it, it takes like a crazy amount of power to run it. So yeah, no, essentially they're wanting you to justify it, spending hours exploring and finding stuff, and that way it's like, oh, you can find cosmetic stuff, you can find furniture, you can find certain kinds of building, like walls and stuff like that, and plans for that, and learn it, and then it's in your inventory. So like with the mats that I had, I was able to build like 3 things a couple hours into it, so I didn't have time to like shut it down.
Yeah.
And do you only ever have one camp, or can you set up multiple camps?
You have one camp, but there are these public workstation areas that you can get, and essentially you can either take it over from somebody, or if it's brand new in the world, and because only 24 people will be in an instance every time you log on. I think that's the max on the server that they're putting. You can find these places that are essentially camps that are like pre-built, and you can take it over. And if nobody's there, you essentially instigate 3 rounds of waves of enemies coming. You defend it, and then it's yours. What's cool about that is a lot of these camps come with, like the one that we found early on in the game came with this thing that was like a mining thing that was pulling concrete out of the earth. So as long as it's yours, this thing is giving you materials.
So you said there's only 24 human players per map?
That's what they told me.
Okay.
That
seems like a little lower than I was expecting.
They want it to be, maybe it's 24 teams. I think they told me 24 humans.
For how big the map is.
Yeah, it's a pretty big map.
They want it to be rare when you run into people.
Okay.
And it to be a special thing. But the thing is, you can actually see people on the map. Like when you open the map up, they're like little dots on the map of where humans are. So if you want to solo it and you don't want to go meet people, you'll know where they are. You can kind of avoid them. So
that's Gus mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, dude, I'll go this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you probably didn't experience this gameplay-wise because it seemed like a very end-game thing, but did they expand on at all those like nuclear codes that you can find?
I didn't experience that part. I just experienced the result of it. They ended it by launching a nuke. So we were out we were at like hour 2:58 or something, right? And suddenly I think I was fucking around with my camp, and suddenly this little thing, like an emergency broadcast thing, comes up. Go, hey, a nuke's coming. You might as well, and you might want to check your map and make sure you're not in the blast zone. You check the map, and there was a blast zone. They put it right in front of 76, so everybody could go to 76 and watch it.
See it.
but the countdown was significant. It was like 3 or 4 minutes. So you have plenty of time.
And you could fast travel. You said,
and
right?
you can see exactly where the zone's going to be.
Okay.
And I think that another reason why 76 was a free fast travel, because nobody could ever nuke that vault.
Okay.
So they wanted there to be a safe space, I guess.
Okay,
so,
that makes sense.
Yeah, so like if you look at the map and you see that somebody has actually activated a nuke, you can see if the map's this big, like the nuke zone was this. So it's pretty big considering how big the map is, but it's not like
you can avoid it.
Yeah, it's not like it's impossible to avoid. And like if your camp's in there, you have ample time to fast travel to it. I assume pack it up and take it out.
Yeah.
Like again, I didn't experience that part, so I don't know if it costs you anything to do that or but from my understanding that's what you can do. So. And
then what was it like after the nuke went off? Did you get to go into that area at all, or did you just see the nuke and then cut?
We see the cloud, and we're like, everybody's like, ooh, Fallout, and some people ran right into it, and instant died.
Okay.
The rat, like I went up to the edge, and like instantly the rads went up to 60 rads a second, and so it's
so
like
you got to be prepared to go in there.
You need to have like rat-proof armor, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm excited.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, like just the highest compliment I can give the game, even though there's some wonky stuff, like I'm used to the map being on my Pip-Boy, so like you'll see it in the gameplay footage. I constantly bring up my Pip-Boy and I'm like, oh fuck, and then pull it down, and the map's the start button now. So so there's gonna be little challenge. You always see me bringing up my camp when I'm not meaning to. It's a left bumper because I'm trying to left bumper instead of left trigger through the Pip-Boy. There's little things like that. The card system I'm still getting used to, which is frustrating. But like, dude, like I wanted to keep playing, and like when I got home last night, I played some Destiny with friends, and they're like, how was Fallout? I'm like, I love you guys, but I'd be playing Fallout right now if I could.
So that's high praise that you still wanted to play it.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, thanks for letting us know all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, if you have any more questions, feel free to hit me up for my, I'm a very experienced 3-hour player.
You got way more experience than we do with it.
Yeah.